So welcome to this mini webinar on using Google My Maps. So Google My Maps is actually something you've always had as part of the G Suite, but it's probably one of those underutilized ones, kind of like I did the session on Google Keep. Another one that's totally underutilized is Google My Maps. So I'm just going to open up this here. Not going to spend a ton of time on a slide deck because this is one that really matters for you to get involved and try out and practice. So we're going to do some more hands-on with this one where if you want to open another tab or don't worry about seeing me, just stay in a different tab and play along with me in just a couple minutes as we talk about Google My Maps. But what it is Google My Maps is an interactive map. So you probably have used Google Maps, which is how you get from point A to point B. You've probably used that in your car or, on your cell phone or wherever. And you might have used Google Earth where you can kind of explore different places. What Google My Maps lets you do is actually add pins to those locations. And then if you ever take an advanced class in My Maps, there's a way to download the data on a My Map and then overlay it on a Google Earth. I'm not going to get that in depth today. I'll mention it like I did, but that's about as far as we'll go with it because there's plenty you could do without taking it to that whole other level. My Maps is an app you can get on, or is not an app you can get on your computer, on your iPads. I know a couple of you are iPad users, but what it'll allow you to do is work with it on the web. So you can certainly use it no matter what device you're on. So what would you use a Google My Maps for? Why would you use a map in your classroom? So collaborative projects are great for this. Anytime you're studying history and you're looking at different things, it's a great one to use. I've actually used My Maps. When I taught sixth grade, I taught Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And what I would do with that book is I'd have the students plot all the different locations that Percy went on his journey because he starts in Montauk, which is, outermost part of Long Island, and he goes all the way to California and all the way back to New York. So it's fun for them to kind of see different locations, see what it looks like in real life because students may not have been able to visit those places. So there's some really great My Maps that you can do that integrate. Let me just do attendance real quick because I had a few more of you join us that integrate. There's a couple My Maps that you can use that really integrate well with the literature that you're reading. For example, A Long Walk to Water is a book that 7th and 8th grade often reads. And the main character of the story travels to all these places in Africa. Not many of your students may have had the opportunity to see these places because they're very remote. So you can do a book walk through the different places that the main character went through Africa. You can use it for any kind of travel activities. Like I did one, and I'm going to share that with you at the end. I did one with 5th grade where we created these road trips where the students had to actually use My Maps to mark their locations and measure distances, which was very helpful for them to kind of learn some different things. You can do it for any kind of exploration. Obviously, anything with social studies, you can. There's been My Maps where they've said, here's earthquake locations, or here's where hurricanes have happened, or where there's been spots for Bigfoot, anything along those lines. You can do that. So you can do it for social studies and science tracking, for different distance and location ideas. So there's so much that you can do with My Maps. So how does it work? We're going to try one together. I'm going to walk you through it first before I'm going to give you access, and then I'm going to give you access so you can start to play around. And then I'm going to give you lots of resources. So let me go back. So Google My Maps, just so you know, I'm linking right to it. But if I go into my waffle, you're not going to really see it in here. So you don't see it in your waffle here. But if you go out to your drive and you click on New, you're going to see it if you slide down to More. Google My Maps is actually located in your Google Drive area. So you could always get to it. They save right in Google Drive, so you always have access to them there. And then what it does is it opens up to a map. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here, just so you can see what this map looks like here. So, and I can do that. I'm just pinching in on my mouse, but you could certainly hit the little button on the bottom left here to zoom out. All right, so I've got it zoomed out so you can see most of the world here. All right, so I've got this flat map. I can change the way the base map looks. So everything you need is in this menu on the left-hand side. Under the base map, when I click the arrow, I can change it to be more like a typical map that you see. I can have it be the satellite type of look. I can have it be, where it's labeling different locations, where it has that kind of that brownish kind of look. So like an atlas, changing the colors a little bit, a lighter one. So you can change however you want the map to kind of look based on what you're looking for it to do. So if I say to a typical map right now, that's what your students are typically used to looking at, or they might be used to looking at satellite images. So you always can change your map, your base map, to be anything you want. Now, up at the top of your screen, there's this search bar. So if I put in Saratoga Springs, New York, all right, it's going to bring me right to it on the map. So I've got this location. I can zoom in on that location. So I'm going to stay where that marker is. So you can see the racetrack now. You can see, downtown, some of the locations you're used to seeing in Saratoga. I can bring it right into actually seeing the roads, seeing it all from above. You see how close I can get to actual areas. So you can get it about that far. So right now I'm right downtown by De Jong, Jewelry, that kind of area. Broadway is running right through here, and I can change whatever it is I want to look at and how I want to look at it from here. So I can zoom in pretty far on the map, or I can zoom back out, however I want to do it. But you'll notice that it created this marker. And within the marker, you have lots of options. You'll see that it allows you to add it to map. It gives you a location, and I can even view it in Google Maps, so I can bring it right out to that Google Maps and actually get directions to it. But I'm going to just click Add to Map. When I do that, it creates a marker, and you'll see that marker stays on the left-hand side. It'll also give me the longitude and latitude lines, and it gives me some details in here. If I don't want those details, I can remove them. All right. Now I also have this style, I have edit, I have add images, directions, and I have a delete. Okay. So I'm going to start with the style. When I click on style, I can change the color of the marker to be any color I want. I can change it to popular icons, or I can click on more icons and go out. So you'll see I have tons of different icons that are available. I can do shapes, sports, places. I mean, they just continue along the way. I can even go to custom. I can even upload my own image if I want, wherever I'd like it to be. So Saratoga is the blue streak, so I'm going to grab this little lightning bolt kind of thing. You can also search, and you can do lightning. I don't know if there is one. Oh, there you go. There's a lightning one. So we'll grab that one, and we'll hit OK. All right, Saratoga's colors are blue and white, so I'm going to change it to blue. So I've got this new icon that has this little lightning bolt in it. When I click on the pencil, the students can rename this. So I can say that this is downtown, and then I can give some history of the different things from downtown. Broadway is a popular street for shops and restaurants. For whatever research you're having your students do, they can add that information in, maybe say something about it, and they click save. So now I've got the marker. I have what I named it for the title, and I have a little blurb in there, and you can add as much blurb as you'd like on there. And that's what I got in the edit. The next one is a photo icon. When I click on that, it's going to give me lots of options. I can upload a photo from my drive. So if I had a picture I wanted to save, like of me downtown or something like that, I can bring that in. The web camera's there to take your picture. You could do it by a link. So if you have the link to a video, a photo, you can put the link in there. You can go out to your photo albums and look at those. You can link to your own Google Drive and pull in any images from there. Or you can do a Google search right in, or even under the more, you can do a YouTube video or YouTube link. So I'm going to go into Google image search, and I'm going to type in downtown Saratoga Springs. All right, and then I could pick any picture I want. Maybe I want this one, whatever it happens to be, and I hit select. Now it's going to add that photo of downtown right in there, and you'll notice it says 1 of 1. I can click the plus and I can add more. So I can go through and be like, all right, I also want to add this one in, and I click the plus, and now I have 2 pictures. So I have the first one and the second. And you can do this with videos. You can do this with any images, whatever you'd like to do, and you can create these mini slideshows of the location that you're showcasing. All right, and it's just that easy to click and drag them in or link them in. When I click save, it's going to save that location. All right, so I'm going to X out of it for a second there just to kind of show you what I've been doing here. So I'm going to zoom back out. And before we started today, I actually created a spot in Ireland. And it happened to be my favorite coffee shop when we were in Killarney this past summer. So you'll see I have a spot here, and I just made that spot there. So if I click on that first spot, you're going to see that it comes up to this place called John Reedy's. I left the details in that it's in Killarney. I gave you the link to their location. There's a phone number. I have a star rating for people that like it. I added this little blurb where I said a great spot for coffee and music. The nightlife is hopping because they have all these different rooms. It was a cool place. I showed 2 different pictures. So this was the storefront, and this was one of the rooms out the back, so that you can see different things that you can add. All right. So now I've got these 2 locations. Now this can be a shareable map, which is what you guys are going to do. So I'm going to have you try. I'm going to share this map out with you, and I want you to pick a location. I don't care where. It could be a place you've been. It could be a place that that you always have dreamed of going. And then we're going to walk through, and you're going to actually create your own markers. So I'm going to share this with you. So I'm going to click on share. I gave access to anyone with the link can edit, and that's important because otherwise it might be meet only. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. You don't have to add it to your laptop. It's not an app. You can go right to the website. You just type in Google My Maps and it'll bring you right there. All right. Okay, so there's the link. I want you all to hop onto my map. I'll give you a minute to do that. Any questions you have, I'll also take them now as well. Hopefully you're all getting in. There's no way for me to see that you're all in on this one. Some of the others, you know, like when we do Jamboard, you can see that everyone's joined. This one you can't. So, you know, I'm not gonna be able to tell that you've come on, but I'll be able to tell when you start working around it. So I put some directions in the top here. I named this Google My Maps Adventure. I said, let's learn about Google My Maps collaboratively. When I click on more, it's going to give you your task. It says, find a dream location somewhere in the world, add a creative marker, find 3 photos and add a description. And then I want you to find other people's spots and view their images. So let's walk through it together, and we'll start from there. So at the top of your screen where you have the search bar, put in a place somewhere in the world. Doesn't matter where. So I'm going to put in Spring Lake, New Jersey. It's where I spend my summers. All right. So all of you are going to do that and find a spot. I want to come down to the beach, so I'm going to move my spot a little bit.
Lori, I don't think I'm in.
Okay. Did you click the link that I gave you in the chat?
Yeah, I did do that.
Okay. And what do you see when you click on that link?
Says you're presenting to everyone. Stop presenting.
You know, oh, yeah. So you're seeing my screen still. So when you click on that, it should have opened a new link. So you might just have to toggle over to that link.
Okay. Is there something else I need to do? Because the little box where I want to put my location, it won't let me type it in.
In the box at the top?
Yeah. Maybe it will now. No.
Anyone else having trouble where they're not getting editing rights? No? Okay. So I'm going to share again. It might just be that you need to refresh your screen. Yep. If Eric got in, that means the settings are right for you to be able to edit. So try again, maybe refresh your page, see if that helps. All right. So now that you've found a location, I want you to click Add to Map. And let me know if you don't get in still as we're going through, okay?
I'm still not getting in.
What happens when you, do you want to share? Here, let me stop presenting for a second. Why don't you share your screen with me? Show me that.
No, my screen should be sharing.
No, click present now on the bottom of your screen.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
You want the entire screen?
Entire screen, yep, because you're going to be toggling between different angles or different tabs. And then click in the picture that you see on the front. It'd be a picture of me, I guess. And then click the share button. Perfect, you did it. Okay. So go into the chat.
Go into where?
The
Sorry.
chat. The
Okay.
chat box of it. Yep. Click on there.
Yep.
And then click on that link. All right. Perfect. Now in the top box, can you type in that box? Yep. You have the cursor. Perfect. You're on. All right. So I'm going to stop you from sharing and go back to me. Perfect. Okay. So it looks like a lot of you are doing it. You've added your location. I want you to change the style to be something else. All right. I'm actually going to use the image search. I'm going to show you how to do that. When you went over to custom icons, at the very bottom next to the OK is the custom icon button. I'm going to do a Google image search for a beach. And I'm going to grab one of these photos and use that as my icon. All right, so I've got my beach icon in there. In your edit, go ahead and change it to be whatever you'd like it to be. Add in a little detail. Hit save, and then add in 3 photos. All right. And then once you've done that, I should start seeing different things on the map for all the different locations that you guys put on. There they are. Awesome. So now if you see on your screen, you might have to refresh for them to come up. But now I can go between the John Reedy's that I started at, the Saratoga one that I built with you guys while you were watching. Somebody put in Comic Hunter, so I can go to that location. Somebody's a big comic book fan in Montreal, Canada. Very cool. And somebody else put in Westport, and I can pull that up and see that. So you're still working on that because you need to change some things on there. And then somebody put in something I can't pronounce, someplace in Germany. And then we have Yosemite. Oh, cool picture in Yosemite's. I love these photos you guys are putting in here. I want to go there now too. Point 3, we need to change to an actual location. So we'll need to give that a name. Cat Bells. I've never heard of that. Canada. To explore Canada. I really haven't done that. Awesome. Lots of places in Germany. There's my Spring Lake that I put in. Aberdeen in the UK. Gorgeous. Who wouldn't want to go there? Reminds me of Downton Abbey. Costa Rica. Beautiful. We just need some photos.
How many photos?
3 photos.
Okay.
Oh, now I want to go there too. Where is that? I have to zoom out to see what part of the world we're in here. You're in the Mediterranean Sea. Oh, awesome. Very cool. And then Santa Barbara I see on there. Awesome. So you can see how quickly and easily, as you're still working through these, how easily it is to make your marks and kind of start to add some information to them as you're going through there. Thank you, Mrs. Chatbot. That's hysterical. Good to know. I'll need to know that for the attendance. So that works out really well that you told me that. Awesome. All right. So as you guys are working through that, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about some of the other features that you have on here. We all did this on one layer. You can add more than one layer, but I find that, especially on an iPad, that can get very clunky. So be careful when you do that. But you could have students do everything on a different layer. It takes away some of the connectivity that you can create with them, but it does definitely offer you some other options with the layers. So, you know, play around with it, but know that it may not be the best way to kind of use the map, or at least it hasn't been for me. So I just zoomed out so I can see all of the spots that are on here. Now I want to show you some of the other tools that I have. At the top of my screen under that search box, I also have a select tool. So that's the hand tool that's going to let me drag around. Next to that, I can add another marker. So I had you do that by finding a location, but I could also start by saying add marker and then picking a location for it. I also have the ability to draw lines. So I can add a line or shape. I can add a driving route, a biking route, or a walking route. So I'm going to grab the line tool. And what that lets me do is grab one spot and link to another. Then I can grab another spot. Oops, cancel. And then I can, let me go back into the line tool, click and drag to one. And then I can click and drag to another. And I can start to link these if I wanted to. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me some information once I start to do this. Right now, I'm just connecting them in whatever order I feel like, which is, not necessarily the best way. I made an extra one I didn't need, but we'll just leave that for now. So I can do all these different places and different things. All right. And when I'm done, I'm going to end it. And it's going to keep the lines on there for me. So as I zoom back in, you'll see that I have those lines. All right. And the lines are nice because they do help you see, maybe if you were doing something where you're showing locations, you can have the lines show all the different places that they go. You can use the ruler tool to kind of figure out distance. So if I put the line here to see the distance, I can see that it's about 3,000 miles between Canada and looks like the UK in there. So I can see different things like that. All right. And you can use that to kind of figure out your distances as you're going through and doing different things there. All right. So we'll close that out. So you always have these different options that you can do based on these line tools. You can also add directions if you want. And what that will do is it will use that line to kind of give your directions for how they are. And you can add, see how it added another layer at the bottom? I can say I want directions from Spring Lake, New Jersey to Saratoga Springs downtown. And what it's going to do is it's going to show me kind of like a Google Maps. It'll show me the distance between those two spots. All right, but it's on another layer. If I don't want that, I can uncheck it and we'll take that out. All right.
So Lori, if we're on the live map, we can't see those lines as you're doing it. So it's not like a live thing that we could see that you're doing that at the same time, or?
Right. If you wouldn't be able to see it live, you'll be able to see it like if you were following on mine. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But it should show where it says line 16 on your list of items. If you have to refresh, that might show up so you can see the lines that I created. And I can change the colors of those, change it to be whatever I want, however I want to do that. And I can even delete them out, which I just did.
Oh yeah, it's there.
Yep. If I hit undo, it's going to come back. Okay. So those are some of the base ideas for using Google Maps. So just because we only have a few minutes left, I'm going to come back into my slide deck and just show you the resources that I'm giving you here. Google has some already made lesson plans for you with maps, and I'm going to click out to there. And you go to this Google Earth website, and it gives you tons of ideas on how to use maps for different activities in your classroom. So they have math, how to read data on maps, different things like that are on here. So you have some information here on how to use My Maps with students. The next one down, Alex Keeler, I've mentioned her before. I'm sure you know who she is. She has a blog with different ideas on how to use maps. So this is a whole built-in Google Sheet where she lists different ideas on how you can use Google My Maps in your class. So there's all sorts of information there. Some more lessons that I found from an educator. This one is more Google Map related, but you can certainly do this on My Maps too. They just took it to another level with Street View, but you can see some different lessons, and then he has videos to help you out as you're going through. There's some My Map activities from the Teacher Podcast. You can listen to a whole podcast about it. It's going to go a little more in depth. There's a hyperdoc you can use, some amazing race activities, different things you can try out, and even more lesson ideas from Flip Tech Coaching. She's another great blogger that will give you some information on how to use My Maps. So you can actually click on her activity. It takes you through a whole slide deck that goes much more in depth than what we can do in a half an hour. And then the final one, this is the one I did with my 5th graders when I was out in Schuylerville. But this was the My Maps adventure. This was the slide deck where we set it up for what they had to do. And then they had to put the different information pieces onto this slide deck. And they actually built it in Google My Maps. But this was kind of like a country project. We did that one once. We did one where it was just the My Maps activity across the state. So this slide deck has been added to since I was there with some different ideas and stuff like that. So that's all on there. All right, let me share this slide deck with you so you have it. So you'll have all these links. I'm going to change it to public. Anyone can view. Copy. Find you again. Here we are in the chat. There is your slide deck. So there's the information you need there. As far as how students access the map, you can certainly put the map link into Google Classroom, or I know Beth and I were talking before about using Seesaw. You could put it in Seesaw. Anywhere that you normally would send a link to your students, you can send them there. You can absolutely put this in Google Slides. What I did in my Google Slides is I took a picture of my map. So if I get done here, I took a picture of my map and then I linked over the map. So when I highlight it, you'll see that it says Google My Maps Adventure. That brings you out to the live map. So that way the students know, click the map and off they go. Any questions as we finish up today? We got up to 12. We had some more people join in. Wonderful. All right, we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.